Hello everybody and welcome to this furniture design lecture in which I'm going to show you how easy it is to design this kindergarten children furniture set of chair and table in Shapr3D. We will start first by taking a look at the supplied file. Download link is in the description of the video, which includes a scan of the chair and also a scan, pretty coarse but useful, of the table, including the other 5 chairs. The scans will function as a scale reference to study proportions and heights, etc. And then step by step, I will guide you through the process of creating all the individual sketches, building the chair, building the table. And then, as you saw at the beginning of the video, we will then make copies, arrange everything, add materials, and then have a nice product presentation inside Shapr3D's visualization mode. And with all that said, let's do it. But before we get started, please hit the like, subscribe, and notification button so you will never miss any upcoming video. And now let's really get started. So here in Shapr3D, I have the supply demo file open. Download link is in the description of this video. And you can see that we have a very usable scan of the reference chair, which we're going to rebuild, and also for scale and layout reference, we have a table scan that also has 5 chairs around it. And that is actually very useful to study also the different heights and proportions. Now here we can see the height of the chair is pretty much equal to the height of the table. These scans were created with Scaniverse on an iPhone. As you can see, the scans are rather coarse and they're not super detailed, but they're totally fine to establish proportions and scale. In the description of the video, also have the links to 2 more 3D Gaussian splat scans, which are more detailed. So let's take a look at them. So here's this Gaussian splat scan of the chair. When we rotate around, left mouse button and moving is actually quite nice and detailed. If we take a look, we can nicely see how this is cut open. With the mouse wheel, we can zoom in. Very good to see is a layering of the bent plywood. There's also a support element under the leg. We can see here these end caps on the chair legs. That's quite good. Let's go to the table layout. And here is the table layout scan. Also here we can just rotate around and study everything. And quite interesting here is the leg. When we zoom in a little bit, we can see there's a pretty big base, an upper cylinder, inner cylinder. There is an adjustment feature and like an end cap. These legs pretty much are pre-made, so we would go to your product catalog, Macmacaster, or any other website, and then start, for example, sourcing them from there. But these 3D Gaussian splat scans are actually, as you can see, they're really nice. They're more detailed if done right. They have all the materials, and we can zoom in, take a look at everything. So they're very good study reference. Now, talking about product catalogs, just for reference, I'm here in MacMasterCard and I'm looking for table legs. You can see they have different categories. MacMasterCard is clearly a more industrial supplier, so everything what we find here is more everything that would go into a wood shop or similar fabrication place. If we go to a place like Cabinet Parts, which is way more intensive and really caters to kind of like cabinet hardware, etc., and scroll down, you can see already they have a much broader range of table legs, from metal legs to wood carved and like lathe turned options. So again, just as an example, these are objects you could design if you have the opportunity, or if you don't, and if it's not necessary, then we could just go online, source a supplier for these parts, and buy those, and then attach them to the tables we're going to design. And with all that said, let's go back to Shapr. Okay, here we are. We want to build the chair. So we're going to hide actually the chair table set. There we are. We go to the history, open this, see this is all nice and empty. We can go to a side view. We are in inches. All the snapping elements are open. And we can now try to think about best strategies how to model this. So from a side, we can see that the legs and the seating surface are kind of like, yeah, we can draw this profile and extrude it and then cut these openings. Easy peasy. The backrest is a little bit more detailed because we can see here at the midpoint, it rotates more to the left side, and to the outside, you see this edge is more moved to the right side. So while with the base, we're dealing with one sketch, with the backrest, we're dealing with the left, mid, and a right sketch. Ideally, I always try to keep sketches brutally simple. They make it very easy to work with. So let's do that. We go to sketch. The line command here is perfectly fine. And then I'm not sure yet where I'm trying to block everything out. There we are. Right click, drop the line tool. And then you see here, I try to kind of like match this. There we are. This dips down a little bit. We simplify the chair a little bit. So very good. If I take these 2 points, so I can see, so that length is 11 inches. I could select vertical here, set this to, for example, that dimension I have to specify it if we want to lock everything down. I just could also to measure these lines just to memorize proportions. This is the seating area. Looks like 9.5 inches, something like that. Very good. Okay, nice. Now, we have our first profile, which we can click on. Then we go to extrude, symmetric, and then we just extrude this one out. And that looks like, let's go 6 inches and a quarter. So that's a nice boring block. Then we can use the round command and fillet everything. Looks like a 2-inch fillet here. And let's go to there. What is that? Is it also maybe a 2? Yeah, 2-inch fillet. Okay, if both is a 2-inch fillet, I don't need to have 2 fillet commands. I can right click and delete it. Open this, go to edit, and I just add this to there. Thank you. Pretty cool. Okay, so let's hide the chair scan. We would like to turn this into kind of like a solid band plywood. So I select the left and right and bottom face, and then we use the shell command and shell it. Let's say 1/2 inch. Let's compare. What about we set this to 0.75? Yeah, no, it's actually too much if we take a look here. So let's go maybe 0.5 or 0.6. Yeah, 0.6 seems to fit. Beautiful. Okay, very nice. Sweet. So we do have now kind of like the base. And then we need to figure out how do we do also the backrest now to connect this, and then how to cut these pieces open. That is then something we will do in the secondary step. So this one is good. Let's show the sketch again. What is important now to understand is we use the 0.6 inch material thickness. So from here, somewhat we need to bring this design up. And what would be the easiest way? So I will create a new sketch, draw a line down, let's say to here. Okay, right click. And then I would like from my original first sketch, project this line in. Make sure this is linked. Okay, click done. You see now that this is a magenta line. It's very useful. Then I can draw a line to here. Whoopsie, sorry. Total whoopsie. Right click, drop this, delete this, go back. So one more time. I will then draw here a line up and draw a line to there. So this looks a little bit crazy right now, but pay attention to what I'm doing. I'll right click, drop the tool, or you can also press escape. These two lines, they have to be perpendicular. That's important. This line and this line, they have to be parallel. And then the distance, that has to be 0.6 because that is the shell thickness. Very good. Then I can move this a little bit to here, lock this, and maybe bring this back a little bit, move this up a little bit. What's actually the length? Or we can maybe clean this up. There, 10 inches, 0.75. Very good. So that is actually quite nice. The reason why this edge to here has to be perpendicular, or I want this to be perpendicular, is these two lines you see right now in a new sketch, we will rotate to the right side. And then the top edge of the backrest is always perpendicular to the back surface. Doesn't make much sense right now. I'm sure it will in a moment. So here, this one, maybe I make vertical. Very good. We could also, yeah, bring this to there. Oh, I don't know. Oh, you see here, this starts to cut in there pretty quickly. Maybe there, I don't know yet. Okay, then exit the sketch. What we will do now is from this sketch, we will create a new construction plane and bring this over 4.5 inches. Very good. Maybe let's do the same, or we could select this same mirror and then click this plane. Oh no, wrong sequence. So where's the mirror command? There, this one. Oh, interesting. There. You might have to click on these icons to trigger it. So this is the object we want to mirror. This is the mirror plane. So now you see we mirrored over that other construction plane. If we change the first one, you see the second one updates. On either one, left or right, we will start our next sketch. Then I will bring in this edge And yeah, we can keep it actually at that. That's the only one we need. Very good. Then here we can draw a line up and there and there. Escape, escape. Select these two lines. We make those perpendicular. We said that was 10.5, I think. Was it 10.5? 10.75. 10.75. Very good. And because we projected this line over, it can't be edited, so it's stationary. And this allows me to rotate this. And look how by rotating this, everything here is updated. This is the side. Ooh, 90 degrees. That's quite a lot. Yeah, okay. We go back to our first sketch. I'm curious, what is actually the angle? 95.8, because that's kind of like the scan. Very good. Then this plane we can hide. And now this sketch I would like to project over there. So I'll make a new sketch on that construction plane. Then I will hit project and simply project those elements over. Done. So because we do these projections, that means this lower line is projected into this sketch, aka that means when this one will be adjusted, for example, I make this 4. Yeah, undo and redo. You see how everything is updating. If I change this to 95, you see how the one in the back updates. So it's a lot of easy work. I have also all these dimensions currently visible. If I go into a sketch and then turn this one off, then I don't see them from the outside. Beautiful. So this first sketch to hide, I will now select these 3 sketches in an order and then click Loft. Beautiful. Then this lower line, I will fill it. I do not know how much, so let's turn on the scan. Also looks like maybe something like 2 inches or 1.75. Very good. I will select all these elements, drag them onto a next sketch, rename. I will call the sketches so it's easier for everything to sort. Turn this folder off, then all the elements are gone. And now I can do the same shelling command. The top, the sides, and the front, I would like to shell by 0.6 of an inch. Very good. Now let's show our original base, and there you can see already now how they are starting to flow into each other. Pretty nice, no? Very good. Okay. We're getting pretty close to finish this share. Now we need to think about how are we patching these things together. Now, in reality, this share is molded at once. And that's the reason why there is this really nice gap between the backrest and the leg, this gap, because here the veneer flows up and here the veneer flows down along the mold, or I mean, it's pressed. So we can model it exactly the same way. So what we can do is we select this leg, and then along this face and this face, we're going to split it. and then also along this inner plane here too. So let's do this. I will double click and select this body, shift click this face, and then you see the split body happens. Bonk. You could also call the split body and then say double click this, or just click this body along this face. Done. Okay, so that is good. And then we need to figure out a little bit of the center part. So what's the length here? 1.75, 1.75. I will select these two legs and then I will click isolate. I will select this and say 1.5. So I'm removing a little bit of material. Yeah, my legs are very similar to the scan in terms of the width. At the top, they are more narrow. At the bottom, they are wider. Very good. Then I can turn off the isolate function. Yep, there we see now what happened. Now I would like this one to split kind of like by where that face is. So let's see if we can trigger this. We go split body, this one by this face. Yeah, that unfortunately does not work as good. So let's see if maybe we go split this one and then I hide this one by that one. Does that work? And click OK. Double click, it did. So let me show this one more time. We just go say this body. This is this one, it's highlighted, and then I can hide it. So it's easier to select that face and click OK. This back body here, we can then right click and delete or whatever control you're using. Very good. Then I will take a look at where is that piece. I would like to take a look at the scan. So it is right there. I'm actually putting my finger on the screen. Okay, so this surface is a little bit too wide. That's okay. So if I drag mouse right to left, then I can go faces. Hold on one more time. That's the way. With the mouse or pencil, click and drag left to right. I just want these faces. Then I can go to move this one on this edge, and then you see how I'm moving this back a little bit. We can also leave it. No, it's okay. Let's leave it. So this one, I would like to go back to here. The easiest way is replace face. So I select my face to move, my face to align, and say replace. It snaps it on it. There we see now we have a nice gap, and these edges later we can fill it to bring it all back a little bit. Good. So then the front here is open. As it looks like after the rounding here, then they're doing this trimming. So to do this more in a geometrical way, with this face selected, It does not work that way. Let me isolate this one more time. I was curious if I could push this back. That doesn't work. Okay, so we can select this face, click sketch. Then I simply draw a horizontal line and escape and escape. Make sure this is horizontally constrained. Exit it. You see now I have a new area I could select, and then I extrude and cut this down. Beautiful. Now this sketch, if I select it and move this up and down, you see how I'm manipulating where I'm trimming this back. Very good. Okay. Let's bring this one to there. And then we can select all bodies and union, make this one piece. Beautiful. We're creating a more linear design to make this a little bit easier to work with, just for comparison reason or to be more precise. So this is 1/4 of a gap. This normally will be milled or a CNC. So we can, or we have to actually round this. This is 0.125 of an inch, which is half of 1/4 of an inch. Now this is 1/8 of an inch. So beautiful. So that is actually rounded. Very good. So kids don't hurt each other. Let's make this nice and comfortable. There we are. To make this look less aggressive, let's round this a little bit. Maybe 0.25 there. Yeah, very good. Yeah, and then we can select all these edges. So that is there, that goes there, there, and this one, there, and there. And then we add 1/8 of an inch. 0.125. That's actually too big. Divided by 2. Okay. Yeah, that feels better. If I scroll down, here is that fillet. And I would like to add also this edge and this edge. So now all these sensitive fingers can't find any sharp edge. That could be cut. Beautiful. To move chairs easily around, maybe let's put in a handle. So we can make a sketch rectangle on the z-axis, which is at the center. This can be, let's say, 4 inches wide. That's actually very good to measure 4 fingers together. How wide is that and how thick is that? So let's say 1 inch by 4. We can also do simply, we could do a rectangle. I also here do just a circle just for comparison. Exit the sketch. And what I will do now is, and it's actually one of these great features of Shapr, I selected a sketch that instantly went into sketch editing. Then I exited the sketch and I will move this closer and more parallel to kind of like the backrest. There we are. If I want to also know the distance from up there, if I now go to the sketch and I hear from this midpoint, I might have to draw a line first to there. Escape and escape. This line should be, let's say, 1 inch. And That should be vertical. This rectangle should be horizontal. Very good. Now I can select everything inside the sketch. I can use the move command and, for example, move this down. And I use this line as a reference to plot somewhat where the position would be. We can make this a construction, so it doesn't do anything. Yeah, and then we can test. So these two openings, cut through. Okay, now this is maybe option A or undo. And then I select the profiles for the circle, cut this through. There's the opening for the profile. Now you could put 1 or 2 fingers through it as a hook. Maybe this actually feels better than such a big rectangle. Since I did this after the filleting, I will now select these sketches and move them in the history before I did the filleting. This is the last command for the filleting to finish all the edges. So select those edges. There we are. Because we made the sketch and moved it, you will have like an avatar, not avatar, a leftover. That one we can delete. If then your sketch disappears, you deleted the wrong one, just so you know. Okay, beautiful. There it is. Now, very quickly, let's create the table. So there's a table. There are different strategies. We can draw the rectangle from the top, move it to the height. We can go to the side, draw a cross section and extrude it. It's really up to you what you feel the most comfortable with. In this case, since we are working with the height, I will do this one from the side. So diagonal, there we are. I will maybe start here, bring this over to there. 47.5 by 1 inch. That is okay. What is actually the height? So escape. I want to select this point and the screen point. And then vertical 20 inches. Okay, so that's at the bottom. And then here, this is at the top. And this is the one that is more important. Vertical 21 inch for the height. Okay, perfect. I did also added this other dimension here, so that one disappears. And then we can, if we have to, make sure this is 1 inch, and we can make sure that is 47.5 inches. Very good. Then selecting this profile, we will go to extrude symmetric. We need to figure out how wide. Looks like 15 inches. Perfect. Cool. Sharp edges are always a concern for hitting it. So we went with 2 inches in this line. Well, let's go with 2 inches. Beautiful. And then we need to do something very quickly that looks like the table leg. Now we're going to do something that is very simplified. So I will turn off the scans. I will select the bottom of my table, then create a sketch. And then here I will create a circle. Yeah, you see that? And another circle, and another circle, and another circle. I have here these midpoints. And when I draw their lines, you see I have like a crisscross. So what I can do now is the following. I can select this midpoint and say symmetry to there. This midpoint, symmetry to there. And then this midpoint and that midpoint, symmetry along this line. And they're all now symmetrical. Then it's a question, where do we position them? Let's say there. I could select all for circles, and then we extrude them down. Should be 20 and 21 on top, 1 inch material thickness, 20 down. But we want those as new body. Very good. They look really thick now. So 2.5 diameter. So we go back to the sketch, and when I select all these circles, I can then say, hey, make them all equal. And then you just pick one circle and say, well, 2 inches. You see the others update automatically. Which is a very, very fast and simplified way how to do this. We might want to indicate there is also some sort of coaster, confusing the word right now, a glider under it. So let's say we bring this up by 1/2 inch. Very good. Knowing 1/2 inch, then we can go extrude 1/2 inch down one more time and make a new body. You see now we created 4 times the pieces there, and then we can select these bottom edges to tidy this up a little bit there. That's way too much. Let's divide this by 2. Okay, beautiful. And we can also select these edges and these edges and then fill it and say 0.25 divided by 4. Yeah, now so you see, oh, there is a separation. Hey, if we divide this by 6, maybe that makes it nicer. We have nothing in terms of a base up there. That's all good. This is not the main part of this assignment. The chair is the main focus, and then the tabletop surfaces and the shapes would be interesting. Because this is, yeah, 0.0. We want to do the same here, 0.0625 for the fillet. So it's nicely rounded. Yeah, wonderful. Cool. The sketches, again, I will put all into the sketch folder. All this is the table. I will put that into the table folder. There we are. And then if I want, I can now move, for example, the chair a little bit closer. I could now make a copy of that chair, turn the copy off, bring this over. There we are. Select this chair, make a copy and rotate it, turn copy off, move this one to here, make a copy there, select both, make a copy and rotate, turn copy off, and bring this down. There. No? So we designed everything and then we put it all into context. Before we do this, however, let's go back, right click, insert breakpoint. So we go back to this original scene, and now we can go to the visualization. Let's assume those are kind of like painted, And we could go to metal. Let's take a look at where's painted metal. It's somewhere. I must have skipped it already. There it is. Powder coated metal clear coat, rough. Yeah, let's go with that one. And then maybe a nice sand tone or so. Maybe something like this. Very good. The top surface should be a veneer, and then the red and the bottom too, and then the stuff outside will be kind of like a nice soft white plastic. So we can think about what type of material that might go around it. That's more kind of like a vinyl, something like this. So or something that is soft. We could, for example, PVC is a little bit too hard. Let's say it is kind of like, yeah, something that is more soft. The color is wrong. Now let's make this more a whitish tone, and then I can select the top and bottom face, click change, go to wood, and then we can pick out what type of material we would like to have. For example, here I have the ash veneer, increase the scale there. That looks actually better. Beautiful. So for the chair, it is difficult in most CAD programs. That's why you use something like Maya, Blender, 3D Max to do the texturing that really goes and bends. So here we will fake this a little bit by simply, yeah, let's say we use the same side material, and then for the front, we are using the same wood material. So I'm trying to hit here all the individual face segments. It is a little bit tricky to see, but once we swap this one out with the wood material, we can then easily see what we missed. There. Yeah. That's not too bad. We could go to the environment. I guess I changed the material here already, and then look at that. We can try to match this a little bit, rotate this around. There we are. And in case for the powder coated metal, if we don't want this tint, we could also maybe go with a white. Actually, no, white fits better, makes it less stick out. And then we do have those here. So show all, that is actually the default material. We could use like a rubber or also silicone or any type of other type of plastic. So that goes to there, and then that will be darker. It will get pretty dirty. Beautiful. We're skipping the elements here at the bottom. Actually, I don't really like them in the original design. That makes sense, but I think they look terrible. But here we are. So we designed a bent plywood chair out of a complete shell now for the press, and then also added the table for it. And if we now remove the breakpoint we inserted, you see all these copy and position commands are executed. So it's a lot easier to take a look at all this stuff. Very good. That's it.